Alrighty, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday afternoon, 5:30. It has been hectic trying to get on here. Unfortunately, we've just been running into a bunch of issues with the stream. Hopefully it's working. If not, I'll just switch over to strictly Instagram. Oh boy, this has been quite the headache the past hour and a half trying to get on here. And I have my fingers crossed that hopefully it's going to work for us now. I really wanted to talk to you guys about branding today. I wanted this stream to be a little bit of an extension to the previous two branding videos that we've done. Rather than sort of just a free-for-all Q&A, which we usually have here on YouTube, I really wanted these videos to be a little bit more focused on a specific topic. I thought that that would be really cool. And so today we're really just going to dive more into branding. We're going to talk about things like logos. We're going to talk about things like slogans. We're going to talk about things like branding your, your Instagram, how you're going to set up all the various social medias and stuff like that. You guys are saying it's a tad laggy. Audio is good, a little lagging, but all good. Let me know, guys. You let me know how the stream's looking. I could just kind of hop on Instagram, do an Instagram live. Rather than this. It's unfortunate that this is happening because this is our first stream of 2021, and I was hoping that it was going to go nice and smooth for us. Just got the text from Pop, said the audio is good, but it is lagging. So, you know what? I'm going to see what you guys say. If we need to, hop over to Instagram only, I could do a live on there, or we could keep it going. I know you guys kind of treat this like a bit of a podcast anyway. You sort of just have it on in the background. So it sounds like the audio is working, so maybe that could sort of be okay. I'm not doing any painting or anything right now, so you don't need to do too much. So you know what? Let's go ahead and let's see. You're good, man. Keep it going here. Insta is better for everybody. YouTube better for okay. So let's go ahead and let's see. Man, it's unfortunate because I set up all this stuff. This is why it takes so long to set up a YouTube live stream, which is kind of nice about Instagram. Just press one button and you're live. Whereas with here on Instagram, we set up all of this stuff, all of the the camera, microphone, and lights and streaming software and all this stuff, and then for it to go haywire like this, it drives you crazy. But anyways, let me go ahead and see what you guys are saying. Audio is what matters most, of course. Of course, says your stream isn't lagging. Lagging is nothing. Okay, so you know what? We're gonna go. We're gonna keep trucking on, and yeah, today I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about some branding. So I'm gonna have some stuff pop up on the screen. That is certainly what I need. That's why this also took a long time to set up, because I wanted to make sure that I have some elements that can pop up on the screen. And then I'm going to show you guys some different things about logos and whatnot. So I'm just checking my stream health over here. And yeah, all right. But you know what? Nonetheless, we're going to move forward. I appreciate all you guys for joining in today. Post a quick link here. And okay, so we are going to, Johnny, I see you asking a question. Do you need to send another super chat? Absolutely not, but we will check out your Instagram a little bit later. So like I said, with these YouTube live streams, I'm not sure how often we'll be doing them here in 2021. Thankfully, now that football season is sort of winding down, I'll certainly have a little bit more time for things like this. But what I really want with live streams like this is for them to be a bit more of a topic base. So like today I want to talk about branding, and just had a lot of questions about a lot of follow-up questions to our most recent our two-part video series on branding, and I thought that it would be really cool to just go into more of the stuff that doesn't make it into the YouTube video, because at the end of the day, sometimes a lot of good information gets cut out because you try to keep things nice, compact, and keep the video moving along, and it's not really just as raw and sort of off the cuff as this. So nonetheless, let me go ahead, get some stuff pulled up here on the screen. And the first thing that people think about when they are even referring to branding is they automatically start to talk about logos and logo design and logo identity and logo colors. And I thought that it would be pretty cool to talk about logos to start off, because everybody's always trying to, you know, come up with the perfect logo and trying to have a logo that works for their business and whatnot. So let's go ahead and check that out. I've got some good stuff here to share with you guys. But yeah, I don't know what it is, because even like my even my computer's running pretty slow right now, trying to catch up with the stream. I hear the Mac. It's running a bit louder than usual. So thank you guys, nonetheless, for being here, getting through it with me, and that's tough, man. I feel terrible having it happen to where now, if anybody's joining us in the future, checking out this stream in the future. Now all of a sudden it doesn't, as if this is your first video finding us, this is not a good first impression of you seeing a stream like this with lag and whatnot, and I'm not able to quickly dive into the topic I want to. Good old YouTube, man. Good old YouTube. But let's see. Just trying to get some images to appear here for us. But how's everybody doing? What are we all working on? Have you guys had the chance to download our free PDF? We have an entire photography guide. There is 2 versions, but we have one free version. I believe it is 20 pages, and it's just jam-packed with information on photography. And I'm sure that's one thing that we'll end up talking about when it comes to branding and potentially looking at people's Instagrams. You know me, photography is always going to be one of the first things that come up. So over the last year, I've been working on this photography guide on and off. There's been different points where I've been more motivated than others, because just sort of wondering, you know, is this a topic that people want to, you know, dive more into? And but over the last month or so, you know, we knew it was time to really pour everything into it. Thankfully, I really had it formatted and everything, and then it was just about really going out, shooting the pictures, and really, it was a lot of writing, guys. And writing isn't something that I've had to do, obviously, since high school. When I went to college for architecture, it wasn't a whole lot of writing that I had to do. So, boy, oh boy, getting back into writing, that is something. So props to anybody who's in the field of English or anything. Trying to remember all of the grammatical stuff from way back in the day. Not fun. I definitely enjoy sort of just hanging out, talking on video. Video's a much easier sort of medium for me. So, okay, let's see here. Getting these images opened here in preview, and then I'll be able to have them pop up on the screen for us. From way back. Okay, that's almost ready. Preview. Yes. Okay. So, let's go ahead and start talking about logos first off. So I'm going to switch over here. Okay. So 15 surefire ways to know if your logo is a keeper. I think this is a really great, this isn't necessarily a full PDF guide, but this is a really great image that just really has a lot of things that I definitely really agree with. So first off, we're going to be talking about 15 surefire ways to know if your logo is a keeper. First off, it tells the story of your brand. So, of course, when it comes to custom sneakers, when I was coming up with the logo, I had 3 things in mind I really wanted incorporated. I really wanted it to have a pair of shoes. I wanted it to have paintbrushes in it. And then I also wanted it to have the Chicago skyline. So those were the 3 main elements that I went to my buddy Ryan with when he redesigned my logo, because the first few years of me being into custom shoes, I actually went under DeJesus Customs rather than DeJesus Custom Footwear, and I had a completely separate logo that I just had designed by a graphic designer that I knew in college, and it was essentially almost like a Chicago Bulls character. It was a red bull with horns, and he was holding paintbrushes. You guys might have seen the logo in the past from us, but when I was redesigning the logo, switched the name to DeJesus Custom Footwear, those were the 3 main elements that I went to him with. So, you know, it tells the story of your brand. What is your brand going to be about? And obviously, a lot of people here are going to have something to do with shoes. Now, that's not to say that everybody has to have a pair of shoes directly in your logo, but, you know what I mean? You wanted to really just sort of just again, tell the story of your brand and what it's all about. Next thing, you want it to be simple. Simple logos are more recognizable and memorable. I think that's one of the biggest things. I said it at the start of the second part of the branding video. Go ahead, take a moment, and just think of 10 of the largest brands you could think of. 10 of the just the most popular companies and whatnot, and think of their logo. And so, when I say that, some of the first ones that come to mind to me are going to be, maybe Starbucks, maybe Apple, maybe McDonald's, maybe Amazon, maybe Walmart, maybe Target, maybe Best Buy, maybe Nike, Adidas. And think of all of those logos in your head. They're all incredibly simple. You know what I mean? Far too often, I think that people get a logo design and it's much more of like a t-shirt graphic design rather than a business logo. It would be something that looks cool on a t-shirt, and potentially people are, pre-planning, hey, if I'm going to come up with a company logo, I'm going to want some t-shirts and I'm going to want my logo on hats and all these things. But sometimes you just need to dumb it down a little bit. I think that's huge. The next part here is that it is unique. So, if you take a look at this image here of Coke versus Pepsi, a glass of Pepsi looks the same as a glass of Coke, but each has a distinctive logo that can never be confused with the other. And I think that is totally true here about the Pepsi and the Coke, whereas the Coca-Cola logo is simply like a word mark. It's just lettering, it's just text, whereas Pepsi is much more of a symbol. And again, both of them are incredibly simple. Speaks to your audience. Market research is vital. So again, knowing your audience, knowing what your brand's going to be about, and coming up with a logo with that. It is timeless. Design trends come and go, but an effective logo stands the test of time. I think that now we're in especially if you take a look at one thing that I always like to do, because I've always been interested in sports, is look at how sports logos sort of evolve over time. Think about basketball logos in the 90s. They were all really, none of them were simple. They were all kind of overly detailed and whatnot. Like, think of the 1990s, like the Grant Hill Pistons era logo, and then think of like the who was on the Hawks back then, even in the early 2000s, late 90s. Think about those Hawks gradient jerseys. The Hawks incredibly detailed, where now the Hawks logo is, like a simple circle. And, think of the Vancouver Grizzlies jerseys, those teal jerseys that they retroed. All of the logos were incredibly detailed and not very simple. And that was a time period, you know what I mean? And now if you take a look at modern soccer logos, they're all very incredibly minimalistic, incredibly, they're all sort of similar shapes, like a badge. Just, of course they're designing it with the thought of it being right here on your chest. So, trends are going to come and go, but, you want a logo that is timeless, something that's going to stand the test of time. So it's not just, sort of in the time period of what's hot right now. It's versatile. Effective logo should be scalable. Of course, you want your logo to look good at different sizes. If it's potentially a little watermark in a photo, how's it going to look on an invoice document of you sending a client? How's the logo going to look there? You know what I mean? You're sending an expensive invoice. What do you want that logo to look like? Do you want it to look like a t-shirt graphic, or do you want it to be something, a little bit more proper per se? It employs appropriate and effective typeface. So this says not to use more than 2 fonts. So, thinking about your typography and what type of, font essentially you want to be using in your logo. Whereas, maybe with painting and artistry, you might tend to go with a little bit more of an artistic flair to your font potentially. Whereas, you don't need to play it as safe with a simple bold font. There's nothing wrong with that. If you take a look at the DCF logo, the actual DCF is very simple and bold. I think that font is just pretty similar font to what Adidas uses. I think it's called like Tex Gyri Adventure. It's got a funny long name. Hopefully a lot of you guys have heard the story behind the FedEx logo. It utilizes empty space. So if you haven't seen or heard of this one before, guys, the FedEx logo, I don't believe, yeah, you do see my mouse. So the FedEx logo here, if you take a look in between the E and the X, there's actually a little arrow. And I think there's an even more of a deeper meaning behind, what that arrow means. But obviously with them being a shipping company, the arrow, is quite symbolic. So I think that's really cool. And it's utilizing the empty space perfectly. And then once you see that arrow for the first time, you'll never be able to unsee it. Anytime behind you're behind a FedEx truck, you're going to recognize that arrow button right away. Next part, it employs movement. So if you take a look at this green farm logo, this really forces your eye to move. It really makes your eye, it forces your eye to follow this path, and that's just really interesting. So I think that that's another cool thing to keep in mind. You know, you certainly, you know, when I was coming up with my logo and we went through a lot of iterations, I think that our logo walks the line of being not overly simplistic, but I sort of thought about it in terms of very much like how I like to do my artwork. It's something that requires more than a single glance. It's something that there's more of a story to it once you start to look at it a bit more. And when you take a look at, you know, the logo for the first time, you may not see all of the little elements, that the shoelaces are actually paintbrushes and that the wings are paintbrushes. They sort of might just look like wings at first. And then at the top, there's an actual Chicago skyline. You may not recognize all of these things at first, but they tell the story as you start to stare at the logo a little bit more. And I think that that's sort of how I like to, you know, design shoes. And my style of artwork is that, you know, it's not necessarily simplistic. My favorite stuff, the stuff that I really enjoy, is going to be, you know, textured and require a second viewing for sure. So, you know, I wanted the logo to follow suit. Okay, and moving on here, it uses a consistent color scheme, so effective logo should be versatile enough to convey a message in black and white or color. And I think that this logo right here is a really cool example. So sometimes if you're designing your logo in color, sort of like this, you know, I'm not sure exactly what this company is, but this logo still works in just black and white. You know what I mean? If they had to just put that on a letterhead that they weren't printing in color, it still works and it's still recognizable. And I think that that's a great idea. You know, how's that logo going to work? Because there is going to be times where you need to just sort of watermark your logo or put it somewhere, and it's going to be the black and white version if you have a colored version. So something to keep in mind. It features a recognizable symbolism. So many of the world's most recognizable logos employ visual double entendres. You take a look at the NBC logo. I'm sure you guys have seen or heard the story on that. If you stare at that a little bit deeper, like the turkey looking thing. And the Amazon logo has the arrows. But again, take a look at these logos, how simple they are. Super cool. Its design utilizes shape psychology. So this is kind of an interesting one. Round shapes such as circles, ovals, and curved lines project positive emotional messages, femininity, and endurance. Excuse me. And angular shapes, including squares, triangles, and other polygons, suggest power, stability, and masculinity. And I think that you do sort of get that when you take a look at these logos here. The Chanel logo, very feminine. I don't necessarily think that the General Motors logo is feminine at all. I mean, so you could potentially say that some of those contours, some of the lines in there, those do walk that line. But you know, I don't think of that as General Electric. You know, as feminine really. But the Adidas and the Mitsubishi, I think that those are great examples there. Its aspect ratio is proportionate and appropriate. So again, you know, how's this logo going to look when you're putting it in different places? You know, as far as potentially putting it on profile pictures across, you know, your profile icon on something like Instagram, where it's a circle. How's your logo going to look fitted inside of there? Whereas, you know, on different social medias, who knows what social medias will be out in the future that you need to consider. How's the logo going to look in there? And then this says an effective logo should ideally fall within a square aspect ratio. So if you take a look at the YouTube logo there, YouTube has a couple iterations of their logo. So that first one on the left here, that's not going to work as good in a square because there's going to be a lot of space on the top and bottom. Whereas the logo on the right, that's going to fit much better in a square. Something to consider. Instantly recognizable. You take a look at the McDonald's logo, the golden arches, and then the last one, it's memorable. A single unique element can make an image remain in viewers' memories. Consider the Apple logo. So simple, a bite taken right out of it, and yeah, it's definitely memorable. So that's what I wanted to say about logos. As far as where you can get logos done, I certainly recommended in our video that you could use a service like Fiverr.com. It's going to be far and away the most the best bang for your buck, you could say, because I mean you can get logos done so cheap on there, so quick. You may not be working as closely with the designer, but you know, if budget's your main concern, just starting out, maybe you just want to get a logo going for now, you can refine it down the road. That's the way to go. But if you want to work a little bit closer with the graphic designer and go through way more iterations, I went through hundreds of iterations for our logo. I wouldn't have been able to do that on Fiverr.com. I would have, probably had to pay. On Fiverr, they'll have how many revisions the artist who's doing it for you is willing to do and whatnot. And you might need to pick a more expensive package for more revisions, you know what I mean? And you can obviously go to them with inspiration. Hey, I sort of like, I like this logo, now I want to, change it up just a bit, and here's some of my ideas. I'm sure you could go to them with that. But, if you want to work more closely with the designer, it's definitely something to consider. So, let's see here. Got a couple other things. So that's logos. Look at this. This is kind of trippy when I do this, the screen capture. So a couple other things here. This was kind of a cool one. Let's see. Okay. Getting some of these other images fired up. Hopefully you guys are enjoying us on our branding talk today. If you're joining us down the road, you're not here for the live stream, thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys hanging out. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to check out, some of your Instagram pages, take a look at your logos. I think that now it's really common that you'll see a silhouette of a shoe and then text above it. And I love seeing people come up with really creative things for logo design, especially for custom footwear companies, because I think so many are a silhouette of a certain shoe and then the text of the company name right across it. So I love seeing different things. There's some really cool ones out there, and then there's some really great simple ones too. You take a look at somebody who's one of the biggest guys in the industry, Mosh. He just goes by his signature. So you can't get much simpler than that. Black and white, and but his signature, it's recognizable. You know what I mean? Because you see it popping up constantly. He's consistent, and it definitely works for him. So let's see here. Next week we have our first video on a new series called Editing Your Photos is going to be out. That's going to be a fun new style video where it's just about taking. We had a lot of people. We posted it on Instagram. We had a lot of you guys send in your photos and say, this is a photo I would like to see edited. So Jason goes ahead and does his thing on. I think there's quite a few photos in the video, and but it's just really cool to see, because what you could do just with some edits on a computer is absolutely incredible. So I see 127 people in the chat. Thank you guys. Incredible to see, especially on a stream like this that we had a bunch of issues with. Let me see here. Glitzy Garm says, our store originally sold handmade and reworked clothing, and now we customize trainers too. Would you recommend keeping it all under the Glitzy Garm's name or differentiating the shoes from the clothes? No, I think I would keep it all under the same name, especially if you have a bit of a brand identity already. People start to have some brand loyalty with you. People enjoy your company. I don't think that you need to change it. No, definitely not. Let's see. Trying to get this next one pulled up. Again, just the computer is acting slow for whatever reason. It's not the internet, guys. I have a strong internet connection that I made sure of. There's no telling what it is. That's technology for you sometimes. So our next part here, some of the other things we're going to talk about are going to be a slogan, which I think is heavily underutilized. You won't see a lot of customizers with a slogan. So we're going to talk about some stuff there. and then the other part is going to be on names, on business names. So let's go ahead. Bertram Hawk says, Dylan, for the first timers thing, when do you have to submit by, and does it have to be your first pair or one of your first? Really, ideally, it's your first pair. I think that if it's your second or your third pair, I mean, again, ideally it's your first pair. There's no way of me necessarily telling, based off of how many submissions we already have. I'm not necessarily going to be able to go into everybody's and make sure they're not lying that it's the first pair they've ever posted. But again, there's something special about the first time you ever lay paint to a pair of shoes, and there's just a lot to. I think that those might be my favorite episodes of Reviewing Your Customers potentially, because there's just the most. There's the largest. When you're new, there's just so much for you to learn, and there's so much that you could pick up from somebody who's looked. I've literally stared at shoes every day for 10 years. For a lot of hours, I've just stared at shoes every single day. It sounds crazy to say, but it's absolutely true. I'm now in my 10th year. September will be 10 years since I first laid paint to a pair of shoes. So, I may just have a different eye that's able to catch certain things now that I certainly didn't catch back then. You know what I mean? When I take a look at some of my early pairs, my eye wasn't trained to spot these things either. And so hopefully now I'm able to convey some of that knowledge. And I think that that's just a great learning opportunity. Let's see here. Okay, so we'll do a quick little touch here on color emotion guide, and then we will do a quick little, and then we'll dive into company names and slogans. So let's go ahead, pull this up over here, window capture. Cool, color emotion guide. Take this as you will. You could sort of, I feel with the whole color aspect, with any point, there's basically an equally strong counterpoint to it. So originally, like I said, my original logo was very much inspired by the Chicago Bulls. Once I actually got a corporate attorney, we had to change the logo for the sake of potentially it being, trademark a little bit too close to the Bulls logo. And, when we were designing the DCF logo, the logo itself was designed just as a black and white vector, but sort of, what colors was it going to interplay with? And obviously now the baby blue, essentially, that we always use, originally I wanted it to be red, and I was really set on red. Red just is one of my favorite colors on shoes, certainly, of course, obviously being a huge Bulls fan. So it was definitely going to be red. I have some images of the DCF logo up against red, which I'll show in a second. And but we ultimately went with the blue, and there was a lot of reasons why we didn't choose the red. That red can sort of be sometimes correlated to having a negative connotation. Obviously, how it is in the stock market, red being the stop color at a stoplight. There was just a couple data points of why we chose to go against it. But you could take a look at this chart here. Kind of cool, kind of interesting. This color palette, it says this is a color emotion guide. There's even science, they say, to, the color that you paint your room can have a little bit of an effect on your mind. Interestingly enough, my favorite color growing up was always orange, and they always said that I always thought it'd be cool to paint my bedroom orange, but they said that if orange is a color on your wall, not that orange is a very common color for walls probably, but they say that naturally makes you a little bit more hungry. Take that for what you will. But nonetheless, stuff like this is kind of interesting for what you want your color palette to be and what sort of any of these colors mean, and take this as you will. So let's go ahead and take a look now at the names here. This one's kind of interesting. So this is for a company name. Make up a word like Pepsi. Pepsi is a completely made up word. Obviously, if you're really making up a word, at first you need to walk that line of, is it very readable to where people don't sort of need to say, how do you say that? You know what I mean? Pepsi, it might just be now because we've known it all for so long that it's easy to read, but maybe at first people were like, how do you sort of say that? So you sort of got to toe that line. Reframe an unrelated word, like Apple for computers. Obviously, before, Apple was created, you wouldn't have necessarily tied those things together. But now, they're very tied together. Use a suggestive word or metaphor, like buffer. Describe it literally, easy to imitate. The shoe company. There's other things like that. What's another good one? Of course, when I'm on the spot, I won't be able to think of anything. They'll all come to me later. But alter a word by removing letters, adding letters, or using Latin endings like Tumblr. That's a cool one. That's an interesting one. Again, sometimes you got to consider where it may just look like a typo at first to people, depending on it. But obviously, it works really well for Tumblr. Create an acronym for a longer name like HBO, Home Box Office. Combine two words. Pinterest is pin and interest, and Snapple, I didn't even know this one, Snappy and Apple, but that's pretty cool, and it makes a lot of sense once you think about it. So, obviously, the common thing to do for customizers is sort of take your name or a last name and add customs on there. That's what I did to start, DeJesus Customs. I just took my last name. For anybody who hasn't heard that story before and who asks sort of, hey, where does the DeJesus come from? Just happens to be my last name, and I just happen to think I have a cool last name that worked really well for the business. And it's not too common. It's not an overly common last name either. There is, as far as in pop culture, there was really only one other DeJesus when I was growing up. There's a baseball player, David DeJesus, and I believe he was a right fielder, and he was with the Cubs for a couple years. And I've told this story before, kind of funny, but his name is David DeJesus. My dad's name is David DeJesus, and the baseball player's wife, he married a woman named Kim. My mom's name is Kim, so that's kind of always a funny little story. And but yeah, DeJesus, not too many other ones. I believe now there's a DeJesus on the MTV show Teen Mom. And actually on Instagram, I tried seeing if I could just get just DeJesus, but the soccer player for Manchester City, Gabriel Jesus, has the DeJesus tag. And his last name isn't DeJesus, it's just Jesus, but he has it nonetheless, so won't be able to get it from him. But, so yeah, that's company names, just thinking outside the box. When I talked about this with Jason the other day, I was saying, if you were coming up with a customizer name, what would you do nowadays? And he said, well, just because I think it's so saturated with so many people, I would probably not have custom in there. I would try to have something else, just try to sort of have an artist name. Now, again, with a point like that, you could probably always find counterpoints on why that's not the right move. For example, when I went from DeJesus Customs to DeJesus Custom Footwear, it was because, my team and our attorney said, well, hey, for search purposes, SEO purposes, all these other things, we need to have shoes, sneakers, kicks, something in the title, and we ended up settling on footwear. So yeah, these are all just, hopefully I'm just giving you guys, today, things to consider for your name, for your logo, for your, your brand, you know what I mean? And now we're going to take a look at what I think might be one of the most underutilized things, but it is, when I was doing a big branding shift. This was in 2015 when I took on a partner, my partner Chris, who you guys might have seen, and he's been in a couple YouTube videos. He runs the company Boosted Stripes. He was a partner with me when we shifted from DeJesus Customs to DeJesus Custom Footwear, and so that was in 2015. And one of the parts I was most excited about was we came up with a slogan, and we were at first going with something along the lines of every shoe has a story, and we just really wanted it to be something like that. As far as our slogan being that, there's a lot that goes into every single pair that we do. It's not just, done in a factory. There's real labor involved in every single one of these. So every shoe has a story. But then we were working with a videographer for some videos that were potentially going to be for YouTube. They ended up not going there. I think they were just going to be for our website when we were launching a new website. But he said, what if you swapped out story for soul? And when I heard that, just the light bulb moment was absolutely incredible. And then every shoe has a soul, obviously having, multiple meanings there. I was so excited by that slogan, and I still absolutely love it. It's on every single box, and it still really really holds a lot of weight to me, and I think really represents the company. That every shoe has a soul. I pour everything I do into every single pair. I don't ever skip out on doing pairs because I'm rushed or I want to give all of my attention to something else. No, I really try to give every single pair my undivided attention, and every shoe has a soul. Every shoe gets a little piece of me inside of it, and that's what they say when you're purchasing art from an artist. You're purchasing a piece of their soul, and I think that that's absolutely true. So a couple of the cool examples that they have here are going to be Stake Your Claim, Death Wish Coffee. I'm not even familiar with Death Wish Coffee. I don't know if they're a big brand. I'm surprised I haven't heard of them, because obviously all the other brands they have here are huge. But Death Wish Coffee, the world's strongest coffee. So you make a strong statement about the company. Make it a metaphor. Red Bull. Red Bull gives you wings. These are all great and super catchy, super recognizable. Adopt your customer's attitude. Nike. Just do it. And now we also have another slogan around here. Just create. You know what I mean? And that represents so much of what we believe in and what we try to inspire about and what we want to bleed over into you guys, hopefully, is just create. Don't let nothing hold you back. Don't let any doubt that you can't. I tell everybody, it doesn't matter if you don't have an art degree or an artist background. You could still do this, okay? You can still begin. You could still become. You could still start a custom sneaker business. You don't need a crazy background. You don't need art degrees. I don't have an art degree. I don't have a degree in general. And here I am running a successful business. I don't have any business training. I don't have any art degree. And I think that I run a really successful business that has multiple people. There's a team here. And I just want to tell you guys that anybody can do it if you're willing to put in the work. And I was always somebody who was willing to put in the work. Nothing was going to stop me. You know what I mean? When I left college after 3 years, there was no looking back. There was no doubt. I knew that I could do this, and I knew that nothing was going to stop me, even during times where it wasn't as good. And it takes a long time to really grow as an artist and discover sort of your voice and carve out your lane and start making money. It takes time. For some, it can happen overnight. For some, it can happen right away if you have, if you're able to really carve out a nice niche for yourself right away. But you gotta always be ready for that slow grind, because there's a chance that that's what it is, and you always have to. You can't just go in and just hope that it happens overnight. You got to be willing to really, really put in the work, and I always was. So, back to some slogans here. Cards Against Humanity, a party game for horrible people. That's an awesome one. I mean, that's perfect. That's a great one. The Folgers coffee, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Yeah, that's a great one. Aritzia, I'm not familiar with it, a woman's fashion boutique. I don't know why I would be familiar with it. But again, I'm not, but it still really works. It's describe it literally. It's very simple. But I think slogans, you won't find that many customizers, I believe, with a slogan. And I'm trying to think of who I know. So like Mosh, I think his is outdone by none. Really cool. And that falls under the category of, which one would that be here? Stake Your Claim. Outdone by none. Quite simple. Mosh saying he's the best out there. Hard to dispute that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of any other customizers who really have one. Of course, again, when I'm on the spot, can't really think of any. But yeah, I think that slogans are definitely very, very, very underutilized when just talking about customizers and artists. Come up with the slogan. Take some time to think about it, and really, what do you want it to represent about your company? What do you really believe in? What is your company really going to stand for? And have that as a slogan. And things like slogans and whatnot, those work great for branding purposes, for having things, in your Instagram bio. If we're able to get to some of that today, having a catchy slogan in your in your bio that's going to describe your company and what it's all about, I think is huge. So I really like this. This is really cool. If anybody's interested in any of these images and whatnot later, reach out to me. This is, let me pull this down so that it doesn't tweak you out. But yeah, here you can see the DCF logo up against the red versus up against the blue. This image right here, you can see it was a screenshot from my phone, August 20th, 2015. 6 years ago, almost 5.5 years ago. That is, and again, I think the logo, it just looks way more pleasing up against the blue. You know, now, certainly, of course, I'm so used to it, but as soon as I saw this, and it was recommended to me, I said, okay, yep, I see it, I see it, I see it, that makes sense. Let's see, and there's one more image I want to get to here, this bird image. This is a good one. Because this is, yeah, this is cool. Understanding logo design brief. Do I still have, yep, I have it taken up the full screen. Cool. This is a cool image. Screenshot this and take a look at this later. So let's go ahead and start in the first row. This would be just a line work version of this bird. I'm not sure exactly what type of bird this is. Forgive me for that, but the first row, we're just going to be taking a look at line work examples of a logo for a bird. We have a feminine version, and then we have a masculine version. And what sort of makes them feminine versus masculine? If you take a look at the masculine one, it's all one stroke, and all of the lines are, it's the same line weight throughout. And then if you take a look at the feminine one, it's not the same line weight throughout, and the curvature of some of the lines, the contours, all of that. It is a bit more feminine. It's a bit more elegant of a logo, where the masculine one, you know what I mean? A bit more simpler, a bit more strong, kind of cool. Take a look at the second row here. We have a young version versus a mature version. What I like is the next one, the luxury versus the economical version, where the luxury one, it's just the silhouette and then a gradient within. And that, when I saw that, I said, oh yeah, that is a luxurious version of this logo. I totally agreed with it. Take a look at the modern versus the classic. Again, now modern design typically will have things like gradients and solid blocking, sort of like that one. And versus the classic one color, one silhouette, and then one additional line throughout. The playful versus the serious. The serious is almost a little bit more abstract. The playful one, obviously, it looks like it has a person holding it. I think that's what it is. I think that's a hand holding the bird. The loud versus the quiet. The quiet is just the solid silhouette. Simple versus complex. The complex one has, you start to see some more of the feathers. You start to see the eyes. Start to see, a couple different colors within the feathers versus the underbelly. This is just a cool graphic. This is something that was interesting to me. Hopefully it's interesting to you. And, sort of, where do I want my logo to fall within these? Which of these, areas, which of these, adjectives will describe sort of my company? Do I want something a little bit more masculine? Do I want something a little bit more luxurious feeling? Do I want something a little bit more just sort of what's my design style? Do I want something a little bit more quiet, abstract, modern? All these different types of things. So this is really interesting to me, and I think it makes for just a great topic. Branding, really cool stuff. When Jason and I were finally ready to do a branding video, it's such a huge topic, because just through things like this, I could talk about this type of stuff forever, but now how do you compact it into a YouTube video? And we were originally, we had set out to plan it. This is about 2 months ago. We were going to plan the first video that you guys saw, where we talked about the packaging. We had carved out like 8 hours to film. We're like 4 hours in. We've already filmed some stuff. We're still, sometimes YouTube videos are like, for us, we just need to start filming. We just need to start going, start talking, and that's our flow. Other times we have them, near scripted. But something like this, we just really need to feel it out. We got about 4 hours into our little 8-hour block, and we're like, we need to scrap this. It's too all over the place. What if we broke this up into 2 parts? Branding, there's just it's mind-blowing how much you could talk about when it comes to this stuff. Because, I mean, there's psychology to it. You know what I mean? And how did we want to format that into a YouTube video? And overall, I struggle to say that I really love our two branding videos, because it's like I'm not sure I hit every single point I wanted to. You know what I mean? And, you know, you always have to consider somebody's finding your YouTube videos for the first time. And, you know, not that we didn't put in the work in those videos, but just how complex of a topic this is to try to fit into, you know, somewhere between maybe a 6 to 12-minute video. It's really hard to do. And it's you're trying to make a good first impression, and you want to, you know, have the viewer take away something from the video. And that's hard to do because you don't want to leave a lot of stuff out, because you don't want them to feel unfulfilled if they're viewing a video on this topic for the first time. So we ultimately ended up deciding on, like, hey, let's sort of do one on physical packaging, branding, and then let's sort of do one on digital branding and stuff. And I'm not too sure we got to some of this stuff: logo design, slogan, and company name. And before we even filmed the videos, I think those were maybe things that I wanted to touch on and dive into, but we just really struggled with how can I talk about this stuff concisely in a YouTube video. And it sort of feels a little bit more suited for a YouTube live stream, where I'm sort of able to just almost present this to you guys. I've never really done this as a live stream. Almost like a PowerPoint. I almost feel like I'm showing you guys a PowerPoint. So let me know if you enjoy this. If you're still here hanging out for this video, if you enjoy this live stream, if you enjoy this style of presentation where it's not just strictly Q&A, you know what I mean? If you're able to take away something from today's video, I'd love to hear your feedback. You know what I mean? So please let me know in the comments down below. If this isn't what you guys enjoy, you know what I mean? If you're just like, hey man, I just want to come for the Q&A, have you on in the background. I'm not trying to watch. I want to just have you on while I'm painting, and just have hear Q&A to common questions about sneaker customizing. I totally understand. And there's definitely a demand for that style of video. But you know, if you enjoy this maybe longer format discussion, I think it's interesting. This is something I wanted to test. Like I said, I really wanted to test some live streams where it's a little bit more themed around a topic. Talk about some points I'm not able to get into during this week's YouTube video, and this was part 2 of our branding. So I said, you know what, let me take a deeper dive into some branding stuff. I'm trying to think of, you know, maybe some other topics that would be good. If you guys have ideas on topics that you would like covered in a session like this, I think that would be really cool to do these again if you guys enjoyed it. So I'm trying to think of some other ones, you know, that we could talk about during a live stream. Today, talking about branding, and we only scratched the surface. We could go into so much more. You know, we could actually do a video on, you know, the color theory behind logos and whatnot, design, and all of that stuff. So I had a lot of fun with it. Let me see, was there any other things that I had to show there? No, because I have this image here, which is what makes for a great Instagram page. I pulled this up before when we were doing an episode where we reviewed a lot of Instagrams, and this is sort of 6 main points here. This is a little bit of an older graphic, but what makes for a great Instagram page, and I think that this falls in line with some of the topics we talked about with branding. So your name, your logo. Again, this graphic is probably from summer, I would guess. When I made this and we showed this off in a live stream. Your name, your logo. What will be your distinguishing company name logo? You know, how are you going to differentiate from everybody else? Your bio. What are you about? What makes you different? What's going to be your slogan that's in your bio? Your photography, of course. Here's me putting that slogan even to use, you know, 6 months ago. If you're trying to sell a premium product at a premium price, you need premium photography. Still reigns true. Your artwork, your creativity, your originality, your cleanliness, attention to detail, the variety of your shots, of your post. You know, do you have video, detail shots, money shots, animation, time-lapse? What do you have going on your Instagram? And then utilization of everything on the platform, stories, highlights, IGTV. Now they have Reels, which is essentially just TikTok, which is, it's crazy what Instagram is able to do. I mean, they took Snapchat, essentially, when they introduced Instagram Stories. I can't remember, that was probably 2016 when the Instagram Stories came out, and right away everybody said, oh, that's just Snapchat, I'm never going to use it. Instagram Stories, truth be told, I still think is underpriced attention. I do you'll always hear me preach to be active on Instagram stories. The amount of engagement that I get with you guys through Instagram stories, just really making clean formatted Instagram stories is absolutely insane. And I know that because, you know, there's detailed analytics on Instagram stories, and I know that when I take the time for a graphic like this, which is vertical, which fits Instagram stories perfectly, designing things in vertical is very odd. You don't take pictures like that. Pictures are taken horizontally. So a lot of pictures that you try to put on Instagram stories, you guys have seen it a million times when you upload a picture to Instagram stories and then Instagram just puts like a gradient behind it or a solid color depending on the colors that are in the photo. I promise you're gonna get way less engagement on a photo like that versus actually formatting something for Instagram stories. So using, if you don't use Photoshop, which I recommend everybody does, an app like, I think it's called Canva, almost like Canvas, but without the S. I think that's the name of the app. They have a lot of templates for things that you can do for Instagram stories. But I just know, because if you follow us on Instagram, DeJesus Custom Footwear, anytime I'm posting promotion for a video, posting promotion for an upcoming episode of reviewing your customs, editing your photos, and I'm saying, here, swipe up to this, submit a link here. If I'm posting advertising for our PDF guide, for a video, for anything, the engagement is just totally different when you format the graphic for Instagram stories. And yeah, so I think that that's still underutilized because, you know, it's just so much easier to upload a horizontal photo and just put it in there and post it. But I promise your engagement will change if you take the time to really make clean graphics, which I really try to do. I spend the amount of time I spend on Instagram stories graphics is absolutely insane because I'm not a graphic designer by trade, but every graphic that you see us do on Instagram is something that I do in Photoshop. And I get a lot of questions asking, hey, how'd you make this? How do you do this graphic? How can I do something similar? You know what I mean? So just something else for you guys to consider. So let's see. We got a super chat here from Clarissa. Thank you so much for that, Clarissa. Truly appreciated. That means a lot for you to support the channel like that. We truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. A huge supporter. Glad to see you here in the chat. Always active, whether it's on Instagram Live or over here on YouTube. So really appreciate that. Let me see here. In the previous stream, Johnny, JBL Custom, had sent in a super chat. Asked me to check out his Instagram. So I'm going to check out that. And again, Johnny sent in a super chat, so I tried to say thank you there. I'm not sure if I was lagging at that point, if it came through at all. So again, Johnny, hopefully you're still here, and really appreciate you supporting the channel in that manner. So let's go ahead and check out Johnny's Instagram, JBL Custom. Let me get everything switched over here. Oh, I had that up for you guys accidentally. Let's see, JBL Custom here. Okay. Yeah, so we did a stream on Black Friday. I think we were only on here probably about an hour. Just a quick little Q&A. We were packing orders from some of our merch. And but other than that, the most recent stream was early October. So this is the first one of 2021, but it's also just been quite a while. With football season, there was just no way for it to be possible. I mean, this football season with My Cause, My Cleats, and just with, you know, things are growing for us in other aspects of the business too. It was 4 months straight of just, I mean, minimum 16-hour work days. I mean, just nonstop for 4 months. So there was definitely no way to do any live streams. But okay, let me see here. Let's get Johnny's Instagram pulled up. JBL Custom. Is Johnny still here? Let me check the chat. Make sure Johnny's good. Johnny's here. Johnny, are you this Instagram right here? Is this one you? JBL_custom? I'm just going to let the chat load and just confirm with me, Johnny, that this one's you, because I don't want to review the wrong Instagram. We have another super chat here from Delara. Is it Kira? There's the font's very small. It's a little hard for me to read there, so forgive me for that. But thank you so much for supporting the channel on that. What type of currency is that? CHF. I'd love to know. But it looks like it says Delara, and then the last name, is it Kira's? I think that's what it is. Again, a little hard for me to read the font, but let me know. Okay, so Johnny says this is his Instagram, so we're going to go ahead take a look at it. So real quickly, just taking a look at the logo, the name, the bio, all those types of things. So sneaker designer, if you're interested in a custom, message us on Snapchat, email, phone number, we do ship. Yeah, I think that, you know, coming up with a cool little tagline, definitely something I recommend. It looks like you have a new logo here, rebranding the company logo. What do you think? Context info and bio. Again, I don't think there's a good chance that that's probably, you probably can't use Air Force One silhouette just as far as copyright. I'm not an attorney, but, you know, if this is something that, you know, is if it really came down to it, I would guess that you probably can't use the Air Force One silhouette. But just going to take a quick look at some of the pairs here. Let's see. Oh, Bears pair, sweet. The logo's clean. Logo's very clean. But again, now Johnny, when you get these photos outside, up against some grass or something more, rather than, you know, doing it on a, you know, your workspace. Also, another thing to consider here is, if I take a look at the back pair here, it looks like you did the logo in reverse. And I'm going to say, I understand why you did it. Because, you know, you thought I'm just going to flip the image for the other shoe. But when you're doing a logo like this that has a specific direction the Chicago Bears see, I think you want to keep that. I want people looking more. I don't. Are we frozen? Good. Hopefully good. Seems a little froze there. Chat's not loading for me. Let's see. Just waiting for the chat to load to make sure we're good. Quite the stream today, guys. Quite the stream of trying to get get this going. What a headache it is. I feel so bad when things like this go wrong. And I don't want to say that, oh, it's out of my hands, and you know, it's a YouTube's fault. I don't want to blame YouTube, because I wonder, is there something else I could have done, some different settings or something? But I mean, I've streamed a bunch of times, and usually they go pretty okay. Whereas like with this, just lag throughout the whole time. What a pain. But hopefully you guys are still hearing me. Anyone else's stream frozen? You guys are frozen. Let's see. So I don't want to do all the talking about your Instagram, Johnny, while we're frozen. So I'm going to wait for it to load back up, and we'll see here. Switch. Okay. I'm going to post a comment in there, and let's see. Let me know when we're not frozen. Still frozen, Johnny says. Oh boy. No sound now. Let's see. Sound. Mic's still on. I still see the audio levels still working. On my actual stream, I still see myself moving, but then when I take a look at the YouTube control room page, it is frozen. So let's see here. I'm going to quickly test what happens when I just switch Wi-Fis. Maybe. Sound is back, but the frame is frozen. Okay, I switched networks just from the 5G to the other one. We'll see how that does. Sound is back, but still frozen. You guys can hear me now. It's working for me now, you guys are saying. I'm going to refresh this page. Let's see what that does. Clarissa here with a good dad joke. I'm no Walt Disney, but you're still frozen. That's impressive. That's good. That's good, Clarissa. That's a good one. Has a lot of delay on the sound. I wish I had a better answer for you guys for what it is, because I don't know what it is that's making all this happen today. It's all good. Let's see. Now it's lagging. I think it's one of the settings that are something that's far beyond my knowledge for computer details about some bit rate or something as far as stream output, something like that. I think it's one of those things that probably just need to be tweaked. Because I just don't think it's the internet really. But again, I watch some other YouTubers, and they've been having some of these issues on some of their streams that just randomly they're doing it. Okay, it says you're not frozen now. Okay. All right, I'm going to laggy but much better. I'm gonna go ahead and truck on. So we're gonna take another look here at Johnny's Instagram, and hopefully we're able to get everything back up and moving. So let's take a look at some of these other pairs here. We've got the Burberry plaid. Zoom in on some of the line work. Line work itself is clean. It's a dope pair. The business cards on top. Christmas pair here on the Christmas paper with the Christmas tree in the background. The Naruto pair. Yeah, I think Johnny, I think the next step is really just really the photography, man. Really taking your time to set up some of these shots and just give the work a more premium feel rather than just sort of indoors on your workspace, rather than just on top of the shoebox, just sort of with your business card thrown on top. Think of it like, how would I take a shot that would potentially, because something that really helped me growing as a customizer when I was starting out was getting reposted by pages like, you know, like a Nice Kicks or a Kicks on Fire, and those types of pages, they're only going to post, you know, good clean shots, and they're not going to post some of the shots that you're taking. So try to look at some of those pages for some inspiration for photography. Definitely take a look at our free guide, and I think that you'll definitely take away something from it, and that'll be a huge improvement for you, because the work is solid, man. Like this Burberry pair, the line work is clean. You know what I mean? So definitely just spend your time with the photography, man. And I like that you're testing a lot of different things. You got video here and whatnot, and maybe some of you, maybe a little bit more about Johnny, maybe something about you working, I think would be pretty cool. You got a couple of videos here showing off the shoes and whatnot, but some of you working, maybe some time-lapse stuff, I think would be a good idea. We had another... We had another super chat come in here. Let me get that pulled up. Super chat here from Tyrese Ruff. Hey Dylan, can you please review my Instagram _ Ruff Customs? Okay, let's take a look here. _ Ruff Customs, is it with a Z? Yep. Okay, so I'm a shoe customizer and restorer from the 757, Virginia, looking to expand my business and creativity. NSU. Alright, let's take a look at some of these pairs. I love this Mac pair. That is crazy dope. I really dig the style of having Mac done in black and white, and then the background being in color. Obviously the color palette from, I can't think of which, with that, Best Day Ever. That color palette, the purples, the pinks, the reds. Really dig that. That's a cool pair. These are dope too, the Boondocks. Joker here, the two different Jokers. Dope stuff. The Lions pair, clean. That Honolulu blue and silver, always clean. Take a look at some of the gradients here. Solid. The Rainbow Converse. Something in the water Air Force Ones. Clean. I like that you could do a lot of different stuff. You're doing a lot of different stuff. The Among Us pair here. Dig these. I didn't get a chance to say thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate you supporting the channel in that manner. But I like your page here. I think that right away, one of the first things I notice, pay attention to always have, if anybody's finding you for the first time, you want them to know that you're an active page. So always try to have something up on your stories. You only need to post on there once every 24 hours, but then you're going to have that little colored ring around there, and then people are going to know that you're active on Instagram. That's a good thing. They're a little bit more likely to follow if they know that you're active. So something to consider there. I would probably build out some more of the highlights there. I would do some things on Instagram like Instagram TV, Instagram Reels, get some videos on there. I don't think I see any videos from you. But yeah, I think maybe starting to come up with a catchy tagline. Good idea too. A company slogan, but the artwork style, solid. You know what I mean? Photography, of course, always room for improvement. It looks like it has improved. Some of these pictures near the top here, like this Mac pair, looks like it was probably shot in like a portrait mode. The background is nice and blurred out. Just blurring out a background, just doing that is going to give a photo a more premium look. Naturally, because people correlate that to, you know, having a DSLR. Audio stopped. We should be. Says we're good. Sorry, just checking the chat to make sure what you guys are saying. But yeah, that's a. I really love this Mac pair. Look at this. Look at how dope that is when I zoom in, man. The tattoos, his finger tattoos, that is clean. Really clean. Oh, there's more. Juice. That's dope. That's dope. I love how the color palettes work for both of them. You know what I mean? Two legends in the game. But yeah, really dig these. A little bit more time could be spent on the photography. There's always room for improvement. But yeah, really cool. I like that. There's a lot of stuff here. Doing some stuff on Jordan 5s. I see Air Forces, of course. Converse, I believe. Yep, we saw some Rainbow Converse. Some Jordan 6s, Vans. A lot of different shoes. Cool. Mixing it up. Doing a lot of different things. Testing a lot of different art styles. Keep going. More of the same. And it looks like you're growing good. 30 posts to already have 1,500 followers. Solid. So, yeah, keep it going. Keep it going. Okay, we have another super chat here from Rad's Customs. Thank you so much for supporting the channel like that. Really appreciate it. Let's take a look at your Instagram. Rad's Customs. Hand-painted customs. Commissions closed right now. Other accounts. Cool. You have, you know, your personal account, your illustration. So is that all of your drawings and whatnot? Yep. Very cool. And what is this last page here? Paintings and different painted objects. That's really cool. If I'm gonna be 100% honest, because you're so talented and so versatile, I know from seeing some of your work, I would consider having all of your work on one page. I really would consider it. I don't think you need to. I understand why it could be cool. You know, maybe people that are following you for certain, you know, the thought might be, hey, people are following me for shoes. They may not want to see some of that other stuff, but you're a really, 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 you're a natural artist. I can tell. I would consider just having one page and just building out that page as a super talented artist, which is what you are. I'd really, really heavily consider it. And if you have enough reason to say why I want to have separate pages, then do it. I can totally see that working also. But I'd really, really heavily consider, which I'm sure you have, just having one page. I can certainly see reasons, you know, why people coming to you for shoes. You want to have all those inquiries in one place first, in one place for some of the other things and whatnot. But I'd really consider it. So, anyways, let's check out some of the pairs here. Right away, one of the first things, there's a lot of different stuff as far as different shots. I already see detail shots. I see those clean money shots. I see some video here. We got to take a look at this. Look at this. Oh, look at the bandana before we're even getting into the portrait. This is awesome. Yep, this is fun to watch this come together. Interesting portrait style, how you paint it too. Sorry, I'm just really taking this in because I'm really impressed. That's really good. Also, really clever way of doing, you know, the Nipsey portrait. Obviously, when a pair really intertwines itself into the custom sneakers space, like Just Win Customs did with some of his Nipsey pairs, you found a way to do something different, which I think is really cool. Just sort of how you have the bandana there, how the bandana interacts with the swoosh, the very tip of the swoosh, how you have just that little bit of shading right there. Whew, that's some high level work right there. Take a look at this. Killer. Killer. I dig the shots too with the sky background. Great composition there. Untaping. Clean. Really good stuff. A lot of different styles of photography, doing some indoor shots like this with the crystals. Really cool. And then the mirror, I'm assuming there's probably a mirror that you were shooting these on. Good stuff. Yeah, look at these shots with the I'm not sure what you have in the foreground there. Is it pieces of broken glass? Maybe? I can't say for sure. Yeah. That's really impressed here. Look at this little three row right here in the middle. How you have yourself interacting basically with two different posts of the Air Force. This is a really good feed. And I also like that you just flat out have the every so often you have a blank post with just some text. Here it says Rad's Customs. Going to just say a thank you to everybody for the year. There was another one here on Good to Know. This answers some of your questions. This is an FAQs page. This is Christmas orders, an announcement about Christmas orders. This is a 10 out of 10 interactive Instagram. Anybody who views your Instagram, there's just no chance that they open it up and leave right away. There's just the amount of time. I don't know if Instagram tracks this or how this would be tracked, but the amount of time people spend on your Instagram, I can absolutely guarantee is sky high because of how interactive it is. You have so many different posts when we talk about utilization of the platform, all the different things. Reels, IGTV, let's check out some of those. One reel, post some more reels. Easy for me to say. Instagram TV, post some more there. Cool. Oh, this is funny. This is one of those posts. Ever wondered how a small business company looks like? And it's going to be you wearing the different outfits, I'm assuming. Customer service manager. And then you're probably wearing every outfit, right? One woman team. Not easy to do. The researcher. Yep. So that's good. That's clever. That's clever. Now post that same thing on Reels. If that's a few months old, post it on Reels. See what type of new engagement you could get. But this is a really good Instagram. This might also be why you want to keep your sneaker Instagram a little separate for your from your illustration Instagram, I might have spoken too soon for how well thought out your custom sneaker Instagram is. And then sometimes just these clean white studio shots. You don't need much more of a white background. Really cool. Just this, yeah. 10 out of 10 Instagram. A. Grade A. Look at this post here at the bottom. How you have the person just holding the shoes vertically. That is so dope. So dope. And barely started posting in July. Ooh, ooh. The sky is the limit for you. Absolutely. Really, this is an Instagram that I really look forward to coming back to in down the road and seeing just more. You know what I mean? More of the same. Keep going. Phenomenal stuff. Keep going. We have another super chat here from forgive me for saying this wrong, via Jocko. Forgive me if I said that wrong. Hi, I just started customizing shoes. I only have one picture on IG. Oh, the super chat just chat moved too fast on me. Give me 1 sec. I only have one picture on IG. How do you like my logo and my custom? Let's take a look. So it is going to be Shy Customs. Thank you so much for sending in this super chat. Really means a lot supporting the channel like that. Shy Customs, sneaker artist. Every shoe is inspired and made by myself. Made in Germany, worldwide shipping. DM me if you're interested. I think that the bio, solid. You know what I mean? The slogan, solid. I think that the slogan is potentially a little... It's really hard to come up with a slogan, okay? And every shoe has a story. You could say that that's generic. You know what I mean? So every shoe is inspired and made by myself. I think that over time you could start to develop a better slogan. Again, you only have one post. You're just starting out. Totally okay. The way that you formatted the bio with the emojis and then each line, really good. The logo being your signature, solid. You know what I mean? And then the Jackson Pollock inspired Air Force Ones, clean. Photography, I like how you did them. You just found a cool setting for them. And one thing that I like to always think about is when you're taking pictures, you don't want context here, people, of course, but you don't necessarily want to be able to tell, not that this one does, but you don't want to be able to tell that you took these pictures in your backyard. You know what I mean? Sometimes you really want it to, you don't want people to know, but you want people to feel like they're in the environment, but you don't necessarily want to say, oh, I want you to feel like you're in my backyard. You know what I mean? Whereas this one, maybe sort of depending on, you know, the background, could the background potentially be, even though it's blurred out, do I think that there's a better setting for these? Probably. It's still a clean shot overall. Obviously, it has a nice look to it because the background, there is depth here. But, again, I think, try to keep that in mind, that you don't want to be able to tell that it's, I shot this in my backyard, my front yard, or something like that, per se. You don't want people to necessarily know where it is. You almost kind of want there to be a little bit of wonder. So yeah, good stuff. Look forward to seeing more from you. And yeah, they're overall clean. If I zoom in, take a look at some of the other panels. Looks like, you know, you didn't get a lot of the black or the paint splatter anywhere else. Midsole cleanup, solid. Great paint job. Logo, solid. Bio, solid. Let's see what you're able to do. Keep it going. Okay. We have, and let me also just say, guys, you do not have to. It is not a requirement that you send in a super chat for me to interact with you, to engage, you know, with any of your comments. I truly appreciate all of you being here. Obviously, the super chat comments, I'm gonna thank them for that. That's a lot to support our YouTube channel like that. So of course, those are going to have some priority to it. I'm sure you guys totally understand that. But I don't want you to think, hey, if I want to, you know, ever hear from Dillon, I got to send in a super chat or anything like that. So we do have one here from Julian Gasca. Check out Custom Kicks by King on Insta, please. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So Custom Kicks by King. So anytime your name starts with Custom Kicks, one thing I always like to to say consider custom kicks, obviously very generic. And if I just search custom kicks, look at how many accounts there are with just that. If I just take this scroll here, which you guys can see, there's a lot of accounts that start with that. So you want to be easily searchable, so something to consider. But custom kicks by King, that, you know, there's a lot of competition for that name and ranking with that. Cool. So I have shoe artist, Maine, King Julian, regularly posting shoes for sale, YouTube, TikTok. Cool. Let's take a look at some of the designs here. Are these skulls? Yeah, that's cool. Skull pattern with the drips. Cheetah pair, clean. A little bit of like a rainbow gradient with, it looks like a cool, like a tie-dye stencil. I dig that. Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So yeah, a lot of cool different designs here. I dig that. The LV pair having the bag there, that's a nice touch. I think that this shot's actually cleaner without your hand. The hand shots are really cool a lot of the time. I don't think it's needed here, and I think that this would have a more high-end premium feel if your hand wasn't there. Because certainly as an artist, it looks like you got a lot of paint on your hands. Believe me, I always do too. But I think that this shot would just look a little bit cleaner without that. But yeah, having the bag, just the setting that you pick, the little mini vase with the flowers that have the same color palette, that's cool. Works up against that, you know, sort of stucco background there, that texture. But yeah, some of the other shots, I think that holding the shots out, taking them up against grass is totally fine, and you'll see a lot of people do it. Just one thing to consider is when it's this time of year, there's a lot of dead grass, and that's just not pleasing to look at. You know what I mean? So shooting these, find another setting. You don't want to shoot these against dead grass, basically. And then just how you're holding them, you'll actually be able to take up more of the frame if you rotate them a little bit. So we take a look at sort of how this shot is composed. Let me make sure I'm making sense here. This shot is sort of just composed straight out like this. It'll fill up more of the frame if you just do this rotation. You know what I mean? And then you can also do a little bit less of your forearm. You know what I mean? I think that would be a good touch to your forearms, taking up 33% of the frame, entering into 33% of the frame and whatnot. So just something to consider there. But yeah, solid stuff. I would probably, you want to try to shoot in the shade also. It'll be a little bit better for how shadows and highlights hit your shoe. If we take a look at this pair, half the shoe's in direct shadow. There's a lot of sun in this picture. You take a look at your arm, all the shadows cast. Shoot in the shade, light's a little bit more controllable. Sometimes you got to find a different location. Sometimes it's hard to find shade. Sometimes you got to shoot at certain times of day. But those little improvements will go a long way for you. Logo, solid. Name, you know what I said. And yeah, cool stuff though. Cool stuff. I like seeing that you're doing a lot of different things too. So great stuff, and keep up the good work. Okay. So let's see. We will go we'll go 5 more minutes here, and then I got to get out of here. So let me check out Milan Panchel. You don't need to spam the chat like that, I promise, but I'll check out your Instagram. They have one more super chat. I'll get to those, and then we got to get out of here. Shane Lynn, I like that. First off, thank you for the super chat. It says Scribbling Custom. Let me know the good and the bad. Sometimes it's great to preface that, guys, if you want to hear me. I try not to necessarily, I try to give real constructive criticism, but, you know, if somebody says, hey, really go harsh on me, not that you said that, but if you really want to hear, you know, unfiltered thoughts, I'm glad to give that also. So let's go ahead. I'm going to kind of fly through these. So we're going to check out Milan Am I still switched over here? Milan. Where's it at? Milan P Customs. Okay, unique custom shoes, DM for info inquiries, Hamilton, England. Clean camo on this pair. Those are dope. Green drip. Glitch Vans. Lightning drip. Bandana. Floral custom. Cool. Yeah, photography. First thing, most important step. I like that you have the highlights where you have client reviews. You have some other stuff going on. A little bit more info so people, some of the frequently asked questions. But photography is the first thing about this page for you if you really want it to grow. Again, try to think of it. What type of photos do I need to post to potentially get reposted? Because that's going to go a long way for growing your Instagram and growing your social media. Creating engaging content. That really matters. How are people going to engage with your content? So spending the time on the photography, most important thing. Another thing is all of your shots are almost, what is that, maybe 9x16 horizontal. The largest format for Instagram is going to be 4x5. So if we take a look, let me go ahead here to my Instagram real quick. What shot do I know was 4x5? Were these? Yeah. Take a look at how much this fills up the screen. This is the maximum height you could do on a post for Instagram. When I say 4x5, that's aspect ratio. When somebody's scrolling on Instagram, that's going to take up a larger portion of their feed. So if you take a look at this detail shot here, it's a little bit more horizontal versus this one. It fills up more of the screen. Just another tiny little thing to consider. All of your shots very, horizontal. So they're taking up less real estate as people are scrolling on their feed. Now again, it's verticals is not a format that is easy to shoot in, but something to at least consider. And let me take a look at this Scribbling one here. Scribbling. Scribbling. Okay, here we go. Made in Ireland. Personally hand-painted. DM me for prices or inquiries. Delivery times 2 to 5 weeks. Okay, so the shots with the white drapery. Okay. Cleat shots. Oh, yep, I saw these cleats. These are dope. These are dope. The lion on them. Hardwood shots, can't go wrong. This is clean. Really love these. Super clean. Tupac pair. I like this graphic. I think this might be the only one. Is this, oh, okay, no, you have, so did you stop doing the graphics as much? Here's one, but, how long ago was this? November 10th? I really like this graphic. Let's see, 300 likes there. How's that doing engagement-wise versus, let's say, a pair like this? 130 likes, 82 likes, 111, 124. Likes aren't the end-all be-all, but sometimes considering how are people engaging with a post. And, let's see what type of engagement you have on this butterfly pair. 145, how about Liverpool? 215. So, getting potentially, I would say, better engagement on the post with the clean graphics. I really dig. A lot of different stuff here. A mix of designer brands and trying some original things. I would say, is there any time-lapse videos? A TikTok video here. So, there's probably some type of transition. Yep. Maybe some stuff of you painting. That's what I would say to bring back. Or to bring in. This is just showing them off. Yeah. I would probably say some stuff of you painting. What do we got here on the story? Showing off those pairs. Yep. That's what I would do. One thing you could do here. I'm not really a big fan of having the company shoeboxes in the post. Like specifically a gray Air Force One box. So something that you could do, because there's something nice about how you get the shoes to fill up the page when you have one shoe stacked on the box. You're just able to fill up the frame a little bit more. So what you could do is drape your little white drapery here. Drape that over the box. first and then put the shoes on top of that. You know what I mean? And then you wouldn't necessarily be able to see the box. Like, I don't think adding the box there gives any, there's no benefit to it. It doesn't make the photo better in any way, and that's one way that might be kind of cool. You know what I mean? So something to consider, just a little input there. Bio solid, name, logo, solid. 165 posts, 6,000 followers, doing great. Keep it up. Keep it up. Almost 1,000 views on this video here. Good stuff. Good stuff. More of the same. Keep it up. Okay. Alright, guys. I think it's going to have to be that time. Let me make sure I didn't miss any other super chats here before we close out. We do have one more here. Okay, this is going to be the last one that I'm able to get to, guys. And we have 2 super chats here. So Greek God Andreas sends in a super chat. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you supporting the page like that. And then we have James Parker here. So James says, "Hi Dylan, should post my pictures and collages or spread them out to have more content. If you take a look, I'd appreciate it." JPDX Customs, let's see. So I see some questions about the collages on Instagram feeds. It looks cool when you're visiting the feed, you know what I mean? And so there's a couple of downfalls to it potentially. When you post, let's say you did the 3 rows and the 3 columns, and you did 1 photo, but you split it up into 9 posts. But when people view the page, you get to see the full thing, which is really cool. But you potentially run the risk of lower engagement. But sometimes you just got to consider, it's what I want to look good. Like the way that I have my Instagram set up for, potentially anybody who hasn't necessarily seen it. I have everything on the right's going to be money shots, main shots, sort of, I call them money shots. Everything in the middle is going to be some type of video, and then everything on the left is going to be some type of detail shot. And, so I force myself to have three posts for every single project. And that means that, hey, if I didn't get good content for a certain project because I had to get them out quicker or something like that, if I don't have any type of video to do, then I'm not able to post them to the feed. So sometimes I've had my Instagram that way for 3 years now also. So sometimes you just got to say, forget the engagement, forget the algorithm, and I just wanna do what I think is gonna look best for my feed, because I want to treat my feed almost like a museum. Now, some people might say, forget treating your Instagram like a museum. It's all about the quantity. Just post. There's definitely a debate for that, but I want mine to look really cool when people are visiting it. So let's go ahead and take a look here at JPDX Customs. Okay, orders open. Artist out of Oregon. Hey, you do customs? Yeah, I do. DM me. I like that. That's good. That's clever. That's clever. The shots right away are solid. Solid, like decent backgrounds here, just the gravel, just the wood. Again, this is a dope hair, but it's hard when it's this sunny because of all the shadows cast. Obviously, on this left side of the shoe here, some really little bit too bright highlights. Basically, the Damian Lillard waving away. Oh, you went and got it right up against the with the arena in the background. That's really dope. That's a cool pair. Camo. Good stuff here. Good stuff. I would say bring in some time-lapse, some stuff of you working. Little TikTok video here. Easy to do. Transitions and whatnot. Oh, that was clean. But yeah, I would do a little bit more about Jimmy. Let people see a little bit more about Jimmy. Some of you painting. A little bit more about you. I want to know a little bit more about who Jimmy is. Start putting a face behind it so people can really tie into it, because there's a lot of people who are able to paint a cool splatter drip Air Force One, but let people know a little bit more about Jimmy is what I would say here. But good stuff, man. And some reels. Yep, good. I was gonna say reels, IGTV. Definitely get to those things. So, okay, we had one last super chat here. Okay, Angel Lopez sends in a super chat. The message was retracted and then asked me to check it out. This is the last one I'm going to be able to check out, guys, and then I got to go. I promise. Angel Lopez has to be the last one. So A. Lopez Customs. Okay, owner Andrew Lopez, DM for custom order, giveaway at 1K followers. Dope. Link to my YouTube channel. Cool. So I like to see on YouTube. A. Lopez Customs, the logo. Clean. Again, just something to consider. I don't know if you could actually have like an Air Force in the logo for real copyright. You know, if it really came down to it, I'm not sure, but you know, something to consider. So let's take a look at some of the posts. The Chunky Dunky Air Forces came out clean. Came out clean. Paint all the way down to that sock liner. Get all the way down there. It's not fun to do, and believe me, I definitely have. I'm sure this was my first thought when I was doing some of my early pairs that I don't need to paint all the way down to the bottom. But then when you take a picture like this, you know, then it shows. So you really want to make sure getting all the way down there. A little bit of feedback there. The graphic here. You don't want the shoes cropped off at the bottom there. ASL Vans, the Cause Vans, those are clean. I think that these just need a little bit of photo editing now. You know what I mean? So the shot's okay. Bring it into a photo editing app, something like a Lightroom, Snapseed, Visco. Do some photo edits. This is clean. I think this was probably my favorite shot. Just the baby blue Air Forces, Carolina Air Forces, just sort of shot up against that white. Little shaggy. I'm not sure if it's a... It looks like there's almost a vertical component to it. So I don't think it's flat on a rug. So I can't say for sure. But I like that. I like the feel to that. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Doing good. 20 posts, 300 followers already. Awesome for you, man. Excited to see what 2021 brings you. I like that you're staying active on... you got some stuff here on the highlights. I would definitely start doing some stuff like Reels and Instagram TV, and a little bit more about Andrew. Let everybody know a little bit more about you, and keep it going. So, all right, guys, that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in and bearing with me through one of these live streams. Today was a stressful day with just how the stream was lagging, but I truly appreciate it. It should be linked in the description if you guys haven't already. Be sure to go ahead, download our free PDF guide. For anybody who had me take a look at Instagram today, one of the first things that I talked about basically on every page is going to be the photography. So take a look at that guide. It's just a lot of my tips and tricks that I've gained over the years, photography knowledge, and I promise you that stuff truly matters. Way more than I understood in the beginning, and it's going to go a long way for helping you really grow your business. And again, it's a free guide. There's no risk to it. Download it, read it, see if you take away something from it. If you really do, there's an extended version that you can check out. That's a paid version, but that's going to go into more detailed things like studio shots. There's a full video with a tutorial, a voiceover of me doing a Photoshop graphic for a background. And yeah, so again, there was an insane amount of downloads, absolutely crazy, super cool to see. I think that the feedback has been really good for everybody who has already had a chance to really go through it. I'm excited to see people start to put it to work and see what people are able to come up with, and I really just think photography is one of the first things that I'll notice about customizers is that's what's going to separate you. You know what I mean? I really do. I think that's going to go a long way for making you grow. So, again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And next week, we'll be back with editing your photos. And then